Xin join now. Right, klom này so. Okay. Okay.
Afternoon, everybody. We're just going to give everybody some time to get into the meeting, make yourselves comfortable. All right. See, we're getting some more people joining. It's great to see. We've got some decent attendance. I think what we'll do is we'll just give it till about 5 past. I want to be conscious about time. I know everybody's very busy, so I don't want to waste anybody's time. So we'll give it to about 5 past for most people to join, and then we'll get cracking. Anybody wants to take a bathroom break? Now's the time. All right, guys. We're about 1 minute past 12. I see this. I still got plenty of people coming in through the lobby, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Maybe while we're waiting for the guys, I just want to do some quick housekeeping. You guys are more than welcome to ask us questions in the chat. We'll respond and see if we can answer those questions in real time. Otherwise, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the session. So if you guys would rather just have a conversation, I'm very happy to deal with all of those questions afterwards. I think we should maybe start going. I don't want to waste too much time. Guys, good afternoon. We are officially after 12. Good afternoon and welcome to our first Lunch and Learn session of 2025. I hope everybody is settled in for the year, December holidays, distant memory, and all back into the grind. We did our first session like this late last year. It was an amazing success, very informative, and we're going to continue doing this throughout the year through various technologies and products to see if we can give you guys a little bit more insight into what you can incorporate into your business to be more productive, be more profitable, and just make your life as easy as possible. Today, we've invited Uren from Cloud Mania. Uren is the cloud product specialist for Microsoft at Cloud Mania, and he's going to take you guys through some of the Microsoft 365 products. It is something, I don't think we need to explain to anybody what Microsoft 365 is. I think probably everybody has the gist of it. But what we've noticed is people are really just scratching the surface of what is available and what's possible through Microsoft 365. So it's a good opportunity for us just to provide you guys with a little bit more insight and context into what's available and what we can maybe do to assist you. So I don't want to take too much more time from Uren. I want to introduce Uren. Uren, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm not going to steal any more of your thunder. I'm going to hand over to you. And guys, please remember to chat in the chat box or keep your questions for the Q&A. Uren, over to you. Oh,
Thank you so much.
Guys, just before, Uren, sorry, I forgot. Guys, we did set out an invite to your Uber Eats voucher earlier on today. So you guys are more than welcome to jump onto the Uber Eats app, enter the voucher number, and get some lunch for yourselves. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks, Uren.
Thank you, Petri. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining today. Today is about empower your business with Microsoft 365, and I'm actually honored that one of our premier partners, Dial a Nerd, invited me to do the session with you. As it was mentioned, please drop any questions or anything like that into the chat. There's a beautiful team behind us that's willing to answer all of those questions and actually waiting for those questions and comments. And I'm going to kick off, as Petri mentioned, in the interest of time. So today I'm just going to cover 365 at a very high level, introduce you to some of the concepts. There's going to be some AI discussion in this as well, so artificial intelligence. And if you want more information on this, please reach out to your account team at Dial a Nerd. They can get in touch with us because behind every one of the slides that you're going to see today, I've got a deck with about 40 more slides behind that. If you want to see all of them today, just raise your hand. Let me know. I can bring that deck up quite easily. And yeah, I can keep you all busy until about 6 o'clock this evening. So jumping straight into the content. Things have changed in IT, right? Things have changed in the world. Things have changed how we work. There's this weird thing called COVID-19 from about 5 years ago. Some of those effects still linger on today. One of those big things that currently linger on is all of our employees want flexibility. This is not about a remote work or hybrid work discussion, but people want to work from anywhere, be it on the golf course, on a boat fishing, sitting at a Wimpy or a Mug and Bean. Right? If I get an email, if I have a meeting, I want to do it from wherever it is. This flexibility is here to stay. But we've got to be cognizant that there's some bad characters out there that want to hack your business and want to steal your data, right? So with flexibility comes responsibility at the end of the day. The other thing that has changed quite drastically over the last 12 months or 13 months, if you look at it, is artificial intelligence has made its way into business, right? We've got Copilot for Microsoft 365. We've got ChatGPT, which everybody's familiar with. We've got Claude and a multitude of other AI tools that you can use to actually optimize and create efficiencies within your business. And this is some of the things that I'm going to introduce today that are available in the 365 suite of offerings. So companies are looking for new ways to work, right? And the numbers are up on screen. I'm not going to read directly off there, but this is something that we know about. 68% of people simply say that they do not have enough time to keep up with all of the work that they have to do. Something as simple as a Teams call, like we're on today, as an example. During COVID-19, because we weren't going anywhere, Teams became the go-to function, and calls were spaced. Well, if it was an 8-hour day, you had 8 calls during the day. The time component came in on how do I summarize those meetings, how do I get key points out of there, and how do I do follow-ups on it, which simply led to digital debt. Digital debt simply says that we cannot catch up with our work, right? 43% of the employees don't feel like they have a connection to the company itself. Something I firmly believe in, and Microsoft has taken the stance with Teams as the example, is inclusivity, right? Simply put, everybody in your organization has an idea. Can you give them a collaborative space in order to express themselves in a secure environment and make sure that their voices are heard? The big one, remote options, right? How do you keep those users secure, your company data secure, while these users are working from any particular place, be it an airport before they catch a flight, or like I said, if they're out on a boat fishing and have a Wi-Fi connection? Your data is the most important thing to your company today, right? And security becomes the biggest thing around us. And 365 offers a security wrap around the entire portfolio of products that can create optimization and cost efficiencies within your organization when deployed. And we'll jump into some of these as I go through the deck. So today's workplace, right? The workplace has changed, values have changed. What we need to deliver on is completely different to what we needed to deliver on 10 years ago. Intelligent productivity comes into place. Simply put, is how much of time during your day has been taken up on things like research for a project. How much of time does your marketing team spend on putting together baseline, sort of content, pitches, right? Wording for particular proposals. People want to make sure that they can get to market as quickly as possible because time is money, and what I like to call metal to the money, which simply says that the faster an organization gets a particular idea out to the market, it directly impacts the revenue or the bottom line to that organization because people are seeing that organization offering that service first. Richer engagements. These should be regarded as richer engagements. Why? We want to connect at a personal level with all users. How do we do this in a digital space that's available today? Workplace flexibility. It speaks for itself in that I want to work from anywhere, be it I want to work remotely, again, or on a boat fishing, right? And I'll keep referring to fishing because it's something that I do want to do. But that workplace flexibility also comes into, if you have a hybrid working environment, do you have the tools in place where people can book a spot when they come to the office? Some companies downsized. They moved into smaller offices. They don't have enough seats for everybody. How do you manage these particular options using a single stack from a single vendor in order to create this flexibility for your users? And from a protection perspective, secure identity, secure device, secure data become the three biggest things that you need to look at, because with the nefarious characters out there today, we do know that we've got to comply with the POPI Act as an example in South Africa. We've got to make sure that all of our information is properly protected in order to make sure that we don't run into the ramifications of breaching one of the global compliance acts. So in the years that I've been working with small to medium enterprises like yourselves and working with our channel partners as well, specifically Dial a Nerd on this, right? Something that I've noticed amongst all small to medium enterprises is that everybody wants all of the services that you hear about that the big JSE listed companies currently run, right? So they've got the security, they've got the greatest IT systems and things like that. But putting all of this together is quite expensive. The number 64% simply says that if we could get that same level of functionality as well as security and compliance in place, and it comes in a single package, so I don't need to manage multiple SLAs with multiple vendors, this would be a key win for me. And this is where the Microsoft 365 suite excels, purely because you get your Office applications that you used to, so Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, but you also get the security wrap around there without the cost of what an enterprise would pay for it. So jumping into the products themselves, right-hand side of the chart, very, very busy. I do apologize for that. I'm not going to go through that. It's just a high level of the services that are available. So with 365 Business Basic, ideal for a user that is either on the road, that uses a mobile device or a tablet as an example, to primarily access all of their cloud services and applications, so Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You'll notice a little caveat at the bottom, device size limited to 10.1 inches. So if you're using the online services and you are editing documents, as an example, yes, 10.1 inches, which is a tablet, is what you need to do. But if a user is working on a device sitting at a desk the entire day, Business Basic is an ideal fit. Why? You get baseline security with that and access to all of the 365 apps that are available in there. When we move up the chain a little bit, we get to Business Standard. And this is sort of the standardized offering that we have from a 365 suite of offerings that conform to most business requirements. As you can see, cloud services remain the same from Business Basic, but as we come down the list, you start seeing desktop apps available. So all your 365 apps are now available for you to use offline, as well as the online services as well. So if you have your mobile device, you're using Office Mobile. If you have a laptop, you've got Word, PowerPoint, and Excel installed on your particular device, right? And then the hero SKU from the business line, which is what most businesses should be looking at, especially if security and compliance is a big part of your business, is Business Premium. Again, it follows the same chain of thought where Business Basic gives you all of the functionality in the cloud. Standard gives you, well, adds in desktop apps, but Business Premium now adds in a different layer, which is the security layer that I was mentioning a little bit earlier. So things like Intune, Purview, Entra ID. Just a little bit of information on there. Intune lets you manage devices, what users can and can't do on that device. If it's a corporate issued device or corporate issued phone, Intune lets you manage that device from anywhere in the world, right? Everything is cloud-based. Purview, quite important in this case. Why? Because if you need to comply to POPI, as an example, GDPR, and you have a data compliancy requirement, Purview is there to secure all of your data for you. Entra ID, there to secure your identity. So mine is uren.rupla at cloudmania.africa. Entra ID secures that ID to make sure that there's specific cases where I am allowed to log in and I'm not allowed to log in, the type of information that I have access to. As your virtual desktop is pretty big right now, been chatting to quite a few organizations around that because Windows 10 is going end of life at the end of this year. Most companies don't want to deploy Windows 11 or Windows 12, which is imminent. But as your virtual desktop with Business Premium lets you run Windows 10 in a cloud environment and is a suitable replacement while still using hardware that you don't want to get rid of in your organization. From a Defender point of view, built-in endpoint protection. We know that Windows 10 and 11 come with Defender antivirus that's built into the application itself, so you don't need to pay for a Kaspersky or McAfee or Symantec. Defender for Business takes that one step further, where it gives you full endpoint protection. So things like, non-virus threats, ransomware being a big one. Defender gives you that option to protect your business from that. And Defender for Office 365 extends on 365 functionality to simply say that every link, every attachment that you get in your organization is scanned before it's let into your environment, thus giving you a greater level of security and control as to what data comes into your company and leaves your company as well. From a collaboration perspective, which is exactly what we're doing today, we all work with Microsoft Teams, right? Teams, single area for meeting, chatting, collaborating, and calling, right? Yes, the calling feature is available in Teams, and it's been available for about 2 or 3 years now. If you want more information, like I said, just reach out to the team from Dial a Nerd. But we can now take this and put a complete wrap around it to make sure that we've got the entire collaboration suite fully covered, where if we look at the core environment and we extend slightly out into that, we now have Teams rooms, as an example. So if you've got a conference facility and you want a proper engaging experience, we can go ahead and we can add rooms in there with rooms devices. Teams Phone allows you functionality to call or make PSTN calls directly out of your Teams client. So no more on-prem PBX, right? This is efficiency and cost that we start looking at on there. And Teams Premium gives you the AI functionality that you'd find as a subset of Microsoft 365 Copilot directly in your Teams client, right? So meeting minutes, a summarization of the entire meeting, as long as there's a transcript available for that. And then advanced protection, built-in protection policies using 256-bit encryption, which is standard across the Microsoft option on there. Intelligent productivity, access all your Microsoft apps directly out of your Teams client. Flexible workspaces, like I said, work from anywhere. As long as you have access to your Teams client, you can actually do anything that you want to do within the company itself. Probably the big one that everybody wants to talk about and wants to see. And if there's time, I don't mind doing a little bit of a demo. If there isn't, unfortunately not, but we can set up an individual discussion with you at any point in time to take you through Copilot. But Copilot is here, right? A couple of versions of Copilot, which I'll go into, but you can chat to Copilot today via copilot.microsoft.com. It's a web page, log in, off you go, start chatting to it, right? When we look at Copilot for Microsoft 365, as I said, you've got Copilot Chat, which lets you start interacting with artificial intelligence so that you start learning how to speak to artificial intelligence and the types of responses that you're going to get back. One thing to keep in mind about Copilot Chat is it is not a hopped up version of Google search. It's a natural language processing engine. So you would speak to Copilot exactly like we are having or I'm having the discussion with you today, and asking questions and getting answers that are relevant to what your query is. Context-based search that we'd find on Google, for an example, you put in a couple of words, you hit enter, you end up with 300 pages that you have to look at. Copilot, you tell it what you're looking for. It goes out, it finds it, and gives you a concise response with 3 documents that you need to reference specifically from there. This is Copilot on the web, right? Copilot for Microsoft 365 takes that one step further. It integrates directly with your company data and all of your Microsoft 365 apps. I've been using Copilot for a year now, just over a year now, actually. Right? Copilot has learned about me. It's able to do what I need to do it directly out of my 365 apps in order to make sure that from a delivery point of view, things like I need to write a proposal or I need to do a presentation based on something. I just ask Copilot to go ahead and do it for me. If I'm searching internal to the organization, CloudMania has documentation from well over 20 years ago. We can search 20 years back and we can pull that documentation into play. How much of a difference would this make in your organization if you could go back and look at a marketing plan as an example that was done 15 years ago, but very, very successful, and ask an AI tool to rework this particular offering for you in order to make it viable as an option so that you can deploy it today and be first out to market with this particular offering. On the app side, as I mentioned, it integrates with all of your 365 apps and gives you a full feature offering directly from there. And to crown it off, this Copilot Studio. So if you want to create agents, as an example, an agent simply is you chat to the agent, it queries some data, and it's very, very specific. Just an example of that, if you're a legal company and you want to create a frequently asked questions about the legal fraternity or a particular thing like buying a house or something like that, you could create an agent and put that onto your website so that people external to your organization can interact directly with that, get some answers, which may mean, for example, more people calling physical people in the office or real people in the office actually to find out more details and looking out for your services on there. One of the big things when it comes down to AI, I have lots of organizations on a daily basis telling me that they want to deploy artificial intelligence within their organization, be it Copilot or Claude or something from one of the other vendors, right? And something that I want you to take note of are the questions on screen. These are not all of the questions, but probably the more important ones. And probably the first one is on the left, and that's the most important one, is ask yourself in your organization, what can AI do for you, or what do you expect AI to deliver for your company? This becomes the most important question to answer purely because with the investment that you're going to make in AI, you want tangible returns directly off that. If I asked you the question right now and you said, I want to use it to create presentations, I would ask you to expand on that. But if it's just creating presentations for the fun of it, then maybe Copilot may not be a fit for you. But we can find a fit for a particular process. So tasks that were regarded as mundane tasks, like a spreadsheet getting updated with a person's name, surname, and telephone number. You could automate it with Copilot to simply say, update my CRM database to reflect those changes in that. So we need to look at it in the business concept, in the business context, before we make that decision around AI. Another one of the big questions, and I'm quite pedantic about it because I'm very, very identity aware and data privacy aware, is do you have a data privacy strategy in place? If you don't, again, reach out to the Dial a Nerd team because this is a service that they can offer you. In that, let's look at all of your data. Let's see where it is. Let's see who's using it. Let's see what type of permissions these users have. Why? Because Copilot and AI integrates into these particular environments. Realistically speaking, there is a chance that confidential information could be surfaced. And this is one of those things that you do not want to happen in any particular case, because if it's personal or personally identifiable information, realistically speaking, you could end up in a situation where the information regulator pays you a call. And we know under POPI guidance, if you breach the Information Security Act, it's 10 years in jail or a 10 million rand fine, or both of them for each one of the directors in that organization. So we need to be very, very aware when implementing AI in an organization like yourselves on what the risks are, and make sure that it's deployed 100% correctly to make sure that you are protected, your users are protected, and your data is protected. But most importantly, your clients are protected. Why? Purely because you don't want your name being out there on the in digital media, simply saying that you leaked all of your customers' data because we left out a particular component of that. The rest of the points are just points to consider at the end of the day. If there's any other details that you want on that, like I said, just raise it in the comment section or bring it up in the QA, and we can definitely answer that for you. So why Copilot, right? We use Microsoft 365, or we use Microsoft products. We're familiar with how Microsoft products work, and we're comfortable with that. And on screen, there's three big things that you need to have a look at. We all know ChatGPT, and we know about GPT 01, 03, the frontier models that they have. Copilot has access to that exact same model. The only difference between it is that Microsoft has segregated Copilot from OpenAI. What that simply means is that your data never ever goes into the OpenAI environment. So your data is not shared with the internet, right? For image generation, so the marketing guys or gals sitting on the call right now, ask Copilot to create an image. DALL-E 3 is what OpenAI uses today, right? That engine is integrated into Copilot for 365. I've created some seriously ridiculous pictures, like a chicken doing ballet. I don't know why, but I did do it. And that's the type of access that you get with just implementing a single license directly into your 365 environment. If you've got an Entra ID, you can start chatting with Copilot right now, copilot.microsoft.com. Sign in with your company ID and start speaking to AI. From a transparency and concurrency perspective, it simply comes down to, as OpenAI trains their models with the latest data that's available to them, that data becomes available to Copilot. So if you do a Copilot web search, you get the latest data that's been condensed to a point based on how you ask Copilot the question. This becomes very, very valuable in that if you're looking for information really, really quickly, you're getting the most concise detail that you can possibly find. And again, resources that are sourced are all cited. The citations are very, very specific to prevent plagiarism, as an example, or copyright infringement. And also keep in mind that AI can be wrong. Right? One of the big things to always look out for is, as a human being, you need to check the answers that an AI tool gives you. And the nice thing about Copilot is it gives you a citation. A citation is a direct link to a website where it pulled this information from. Just go through, have a look at it, make sure the information is correct before sending it off. Last box on the list, and like I said, this is the one that I am pedantic about, it's data protection. Right? Built-in data protection with your Entra ID to make sure that your data does not leave your tenant. Everything that you speak to Copilot about stays within your tenant. Microsoft has no eyes on it. OpenAI has no eyes on it. And even some of the chat functionality, your admins don't have eyes on that as well. And it's purely from a privacy perspective to make sure that your data is not used to train any of the external models. One of the big things about this, if we just get into a little bit of the legal side of it, is that if we look at terms of use from other AI providers, there's a line in there that says we reserve the right to use your data with third parties, or we reserve the right to use your data in order to better our services. That simply means that they are using your prompts and all of your data that you're inputting into that particular tool to train their model that will become available on the web. Why? Because most model training does web scraping on there. So we need to be very, very cognizant of that before we decide to choose an AI tool that we are going to expose confidential data to. When we put the both worlds together, current web data from a Copilot perspective, Copilot for Microsoft 365. Copilot.microsoft.com is the first step for any organization, especially small to medium businesses, to start using AI and getting used to the functionality that comes from it. So it's not context-based search, as I mentioned earlier. This is now talking to a computer and getting an answer, but getting an answer that you need. We sometimes say speaking to another human, but we know that artificial intelligence is what it is, artificial. It doesn't have emotions associated to it. So we can also be regarded as, well, getting an objective answer, right? Rather than using subjectivity in that. Also not interpreting the data incorrectly. Why? Because with no feelings, you're going to get a direct answer from it. When you integrate it into Microsoft 365, the same functionality that you see from the web data, you see that in all of the documentation and data that your organization has. Now giving you more concise responses. A good example of that is if I do a search for a particular document from Copilot or copilot.microsoft.com or Copilot chat, it's going to bring up a few options on there. If I do the exact same search internal to CloudMania, it gives me documents related specifically to work and where would those documents work for me in what my prompt wanted. So create a proposal based on, create a presentation based on. I point it to a document or a SharePoint library and I get that data directly out from there. Copilot comes in different options. Copilot Personal, right? This is what you see on your Windows 10 or Windows 11 machine currently, where you've got that M365 logo and it says Copilot at the bottom, right? Free to use. It's going to come out in all of the updates and it's there, and I'm not going to go through each one of them on a line-by-line perspective. But then you get, and this is purely adoption side, on the adoption side, right? So where would you start and where would you want to be? So from a Copilot Personal perspective, start learning to interact with artificial intelligence. Copilot with commercial data protection is the next step on from there, where you use your user ID to log in and start interacting using company data, right? So copy an Excel file, a PowerPoint presentation, and let's see how the AI can modify this particular environment. And at the end of it, you've got Copilot for 365, which is full integration directly into your entire organization and having a personal digital assistant that's always available to you. Most companies won't fork out for a personal assistant for each one of us. But with Copilot, you now have that assistant that's available to do the stuff that an assistant can do, a human-based assistant can do for you. My second last slide, I promise, and also in the interest of time, but with Dial-A-Nerd, being a premier partner of CloudMania, one thing that I will profess to specifically working with them on multiple projects is that what we'd like you to do is on screen. We want you to run your business. Leave IT to the IT team. This is one of the areas where Dial-A-Nerd actually exceeds, right? That particular option on that. You shouldn't worry about why isn't my email working or why isn't the printer working or whatever the issue is around the IT side. You've got a trusted partner that's there to deliver that service for you to make sure that you can continue driving a revenue and profit for your organization to keep you sustainable. With not worrying about IT, it should give you more time to grow your customer base, right? Look at different go-to-markets, different promotions that you can offer. Again, profitability directly to your organization. Brand building becomes so important when we look at artificial intelligence, right? How do you create new marketing and new promos to grow your customers, number one, but also come up with a better brand? You may have a really cool product that you have in place currently, but how do you get it out to the wider audience? It needs to have cool pictures, some catchy text to it, some bright colors so it catches people's eyes. AI can do that for you, right? And makes it much easier because now you just tell it what you want and it automates that entire process and just puts a picture up on screen or gives you an entire document that you can go through. And the really amazing thing about it is that from a scaling perspective, you can start from 1 and you can go to 10,000. It doesn't really make a difference where your starting point is, right? But the most important thing is you are doing it securely and you're doing it responsibly, specifically around any organization on that. With that, that was my last slide. Pietri, can we open up to questions and comments?
Thank you, Aaron. Very informative. I definitely learned a couple of things. Yeah, I think let's move on to Q&A. I don't know if there's anybody in the room here that has got some questions for Jeroen. Sure. No questions from you guys? Sure. It seems like Jeroen, obviously you provided them with all the information that they needed. Doesn't seem like anybody's got some questions. Guys, we have recorded this session. We will pass it on to you guys as well. If you do think of anything else that comes to mind that you would love to have more information on, you guys are obviously more than welcome to reach out to us. We'll set up a meeting with you guys. We'll go through the products again. We'll speak about how this applies to your business specifically. We are well aware that not one business is exactly the same as the other, and how this will apply to you guys. Just seeing there are some questions here. Let me just have a quick squiz in the Q&A session here. Theo, you're looking for a project solution? Absolutely, we can assist you guys with this. You're more than welcome to reach out to me personally, and we can see how we can assist.
Yeah, and I think, William, I think that's a pretty good question/comment that was put in there. And yes, I do agree with you. We have a plethora of tools that are very, very powerful that are included in the Microsoft 365 stack. And maybe reach out to Pietri and team as an example to have a look at, can end-user enablement, if you want to call it that, be provided. And Pietri, I'm speaking on your behalf, actually.
Yeah.
In that, it's exposing yourself and your organization to the different tools that are available in order for you to effectively utilize 365 to run your business better, which is what the most important outcome of a particular session like this would be.
Yeah, very true. And thank you very much for that comment, Willem. And the reality is, a lot of these tools are already included in these subscriptions that you guys have, but you just don't know about them. So again, more than welcome to go through these apps and tools that's available within your subscriptions. And if they're not, we can see how we can get you guys there. It has definitely changed my life in terms of how we manage our meetings with different departments, to-do list, goal setting, referring back to previous goals. It is critical to us to run our business. And I'm sure you guys will find a lot of value in that as well. See if there's other Q&As here. Nothing else, guys. Any other questions for either Jeroen or myself? Something else that I just want to mention, guys, for us, looking at a business, it's important to know exactly what we are working off from, what our starting point is, and then kind of working from there. For this reason, we have made free customer assessments reports available to our customers. That entails an engineer going through the entire company with you, listing all of the services you have, your systems, how everything is interconnected. Based on that, we build this entire report for you, listing risks, what potentially can be done. And based on that report, we can kind of build out a project timeline for you guys, in terms of your immediate needs, maybe midterm needs, long-term goals, and just kind of work through that process with you guys. So if you are interested in getting one of those, customer assessments, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to assist. And, at the very least, you're going to have a bird's eye view of what you currently have and the risk associated to it. Alrighty, guys.
I see, Pietri, sorry,
Yeah?
I see Chris has asked a question, and it's specifically related to Copilot, and does it replace Bing or Google? The short answer is no, it doesn't. The long answer is yes, it does. Why? Because with the current models that are being released by OpenAI and Microsoft incorporating into Copilot, one of the new ones that was announced yesterday is OpenAI Research, right? This is going to be implemented into Copilot, where you can now do a search for a particular topic, and it's going to give you all of the answers that you need. Currently, they are implementing multiple options from an OpenAI perspective. And when I say OpenAI, I mean Microsoft and OpenAI in a very general sense of it, where, yes, they're now using artificial intelligence to actually do web search, right? And this is not a couple of words, hit enter and hope for the best. This is ask the AI for something, right? Something specific, like I want to go on holiday to KZN in March this year. These are the dates that I'm going to travel. What is the weather that would be there? And it's going to go out and give you a concise response related to that. If you did that on Google right now, you'd come up with a whole lot of travel sites that you have to go and read. So as I said, short answer, no. Long answer, most definitely, it will replace it. I hope that answers your question, Chris.
Thanks, Joran. We've got a couple of other questions here. Alex is asking, is there a way to use Copilot to manage inboxes?
Yes, if you have deployed Copilot to a particular set of users, you can manage their inbox. So it's a little bit of a deeper discussion to have, but like I've set up Copilot when I get mailed on CC as an example, move it to a particular folder if it comes from a particular person, right, or company. Why? Because I check my CC list once every 2 or 3 days. The other thing is you've got to set up mailbox policies, rules, and guidelines to simply say delete, retention, and there's a couple of other things on there. Copilot just extends that because it's such a personal thing at the end of the day. Keep in mind, Copilot is your Copilot. So when we look at it in the business sense, the business is the aircraft. You are the pilot. Copilot is there to assist you. So you can set up these procedures to manage your mailbox, but yeah, I'd like to get a little bit of a deeper understanding of what you're looking to manage and then say, yes, this is direct out of the box, or yes, it's there, but we need to do some configurations in order to get that working.
Yeah, I think the beauty about Copilot as well is you can ask Copilot on how to use Copilot, which is a very handy little feature. Then we've got, is Copilot at an additional or at an additional cost?
Yes, it is. So Copilot is not a standalone product that can just be procured and implemented in your organization. It starts with a baseline Microsoft 365 license that you'd require. So if you're on business, it'll be Business Basic, Standard, or Premium. And then you add Copilot into that. I'm not going to get into a commercial discussion. You can have that discussion with Pietri post this call. But yes, it is an additional cost that's associated to it purely because of the amount of functionality that it puts into place. And also keep in mind, Copilot is not for everybody, right? This is one of those, the 5 questions that I brought up a little bit earlier. It's what do you want to achieve from Copilot? One of the components of that particular question is, well, this is what you want to achieve. These are the people that you need to deploy Copilot to, right? And this is part of the planning process that Dial a Nerd can actually sit with you and go through in order to make sure that you make the most efficient, that you deploy the resources in the best way possible, but also deploy to create the best efficiencies in the company.
Yeah, exactly. And just to add to that, something to also consider, and that's why, these Copilot deployments needs to be scoped properly, is you don't want to deploy Copilot within your business and then inadvertently give people access to information that they shouldn't have access to. So, there is still, information within the business that is departmental. It might be HR, it might be financial. You don't want any employee to ask, Copilot what the salary is of the director or the CEO or this person or that person. So, there are limitations that needs to be put in place for this to be used efficiently. So yeah, definitely not a product that should just be deployed willy-nilly to any organization. There's a lot of careful considerations that needs to be taken. Any other questions?
Yeah, see the QA bar has lit up, Pietri.
Yeah, let's see, we've got some more Q&As here. Can we use Copilot in document automation for a law firm?
Yes, you can. It's one of the use cases when I do a demo of Copilot. It's around looking at long documents. So you can use Copilot specifically in the legal sense here. We know that you get contracts, as an example, several hundred pages long. It takes forever to read that, and you then have to recompile another document either to counter that or anything like that, right? You could use Copilot to create a full summary of that document and then recreate a document to simply say, create a document using this particular guideline, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can't phrase it in the legal sense, but using these particular guidelines, point it to another document, and Copilot will compare those two documents and start pulling information together. It'll then present you with a single document, and then as the human, it is your responsibility to have a look at that document, edit that document as required, and then you can send that off. I've got multiple legal organizations based both in Johannesburg and in the Western Cape that have deployed Copilot successfully. And the teams that they've deployed it to are actually loving it. And it's specifically around the contract portion of it, right? So again, in this particular case, because it's a specific use case, reach out to Pietri and team from Dial a Nerd. Yes, we can set up a one-on-one session with you, look at what your use case is, and then give you all of the functionality specifically related to that.
Alrighty, let's go back to the chat. See, there's some. Audrey, you are more than welcome to phone us anytime you need some guidance. Guys, any other questions from the group? You guys, obviously, if you do think about anything else afterwards, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. And I'm sure if I don't have these answers, Euron can definitely assist as well. Okay, are we good? Is that it? Guys, thank you very much for joining our first Lunch and Learn session for 2025. We're already planning our next session for Mali. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Is it in March?
Yes, it'll be in March. Hopefully, if everything aligns, the 12th of March. But I'll send those invitations out as soon as everything's confirmed.
Great stuff. I already know what it's about. I'm incredibly excited about our next session as well. I would strongly advise everybody that's currently present to join us for the next session as well. I can guarantee it's going to be very informative. Guys, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. I know you've got very busy schedules. It's great to see that we had so much interest. Keep an eye out for the recording of the session. And yeah, please don't, reach out to us if you have any questions or if you're interested in one of our customer assessments. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed your lunch, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Pietri. Have a good afternoon, everybody, and take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.